This message confirms your soulmate is near, and if you are listening to these words right now, it is not by accident but by divine alignment, because there are moments in life when your spirit is being prepared quietly behind the scenes, when doors are closing not to punish you but to position you, when loneliness feels heavier not because you are forgotten but because you are being refined. And you may have been wondering why certain connections faded, why relationships that once felt promising suddenly collapsed, why conversations stopped, why feelings shifted, why you felt like you were always almost chosen but never fully chosen, and yet deep within your heart there has remained a strange calm, a subtle whisper telling you that your story is not over and that the love meant for you has not been cancelled but is simply being orchestrated in perfect timing, because when a soulmate is near, your life begins to shift in ways you cannot always logically explain. You begin to grow in areas you once ignored, you begin to heal wounds you once tolerated, you begin to see your worth more clearly, you begin to detach from what drains you and feel drawn toward what strengthens you, and this transformation is not random but intentional, because divine love requires divine preparation. And you cannot step into a destiny-level relationship with an old version of yourself that was still operating from insecurity, fear, and scarcity, so what feels like delay is actually development, what feels like isolation is actually alignment, what feels like rejection is actually redirection, and if you look back carefully you will realize that every heartbreak removed someone who could not carry your future. Every disappointment exposed what you no longer need to accept, every silent season forced you to build a deeper connection with your own soul, and now something is different. You are not chasing the way you used to, you are not begging for attention the way you once did, you are not tolerating confusion the way you previously allowed, instead you are standing firmer, breathing calmer, trusting deeper, and this internal shift is one of the clearest signs that your soulmate is near, because when true love approaches, chaos decreases and clarity increases, desperation fades and discernment grows, and you start valuing peace more than excitement, consistency more than intensity, purpose more than pleasure, and this is not you becoming cold but you becoming ready. Because a soulmate connection is not built on obsession but on alignment, not on fear of loss but on confidence in mutual commitment, not on games but on growth, and as this season unfolds you may notice that your standards are rising without you forcing them to. You no longer feel impressed by temporary attention, you are no longer flattered by empty words, you crave depth, honesty, spiritual connection, emotional maturity, and that craving is not unrealistic, it is prophetic, because your heart is beginning to recognize what it will soon receive, and sometimes before two people meet physically their souls begin to align spiritually, paths begin to shift geographically, decisions begin to move strategically, opportunities begin to open unexpectedly. And you may have recently felt an urge to change something in your life, to start something new, to step out of an old routine, to take a leap of faith. And these nudges are not random impulses but divine instructions guiding you toward intersection. Because soulmate meetings are rarely accidental, they are arranged through unseen orchestration, through timing that protects both hearts until both are mature enough to handle the blessing, and perhaps you have also experienced an increase in self-reflection lately, moments where you recognize your past mistakes without shame but with understanding, moments where you forgive yourself for loving the wrong people too long, moments where you release resentment not because it did not hurt but because you refuse to let it define you. And this emotional maturity is another confirmation that your soulmate is near, because lasting love requires two healed individuals who choose each other freely, not two broken individuals trying to complete each other desperately, and you are no longer looking for someone to rescue you, you are looking for someone to walk beside you, and that shift alone changes everything. Because when you stop chasing and start becoming, the energy around you changes. Your presence becomes magnetic, your confidence becomes attractive, your peace becomes powerful, and the right person will not be confused about you, they will recognize you, because soulmate energy feels like familiarity without history, comfort without forcing, attraction without anxiety, and when it arrives you will not feel like you are performing to be loved, you will feel like you are finally understood. And until that moment fully manifests, this season you are in right now is sacred. Preparation, every lesson is shaping your discernment, every delay is strengthening your patience, every silent night is deepening your faith, and the universe does not waste your waiting, because if someone extraordinary is being prepared for you, then you must also become extraordinary in character, in mindset, in emotional intelligence, and you may have noticed that you are no longer afraid to walk alone if necessary, because you have discovered your own value, and ironically that independence is what draws healthy partnership closer, because soulmate love is not about dependency but about interdependence, two whole individuals choosing unity, and there may even be signs appearing around you, subtle confirmations through conversations, dreams, repeated messages, or sudden hope rising in your heart without clear reason, and while logic may question it, your intuition feels steady. Because deep down you sense that something beautiful is forming, and when your soulmate is near, you often feel an unusual peace about the future even if the present still feels uncertain, you feel guided rather than lost, protected rather than abandoned, refined rather than rejected, and that inner stability is not accidental but evidence of alignment, because divine love does not enter chaos without first creating order, it does not bring blessing without building foundation. And you are currently in foundation season, where your identity is strengthening, your boundaries are solidifying, your standards are clarifying, and your faith is expanding, and the more you lean into growth rather than fear, the faster alignment happens, because soulmate connection thrives in authenticity, not performance, and if you have recently been drawn to improve yourself, to take better care of your health, to organize your life, to pursue your purpose, to reconnect with your spirituality, that motivation is part of preparation, because when two souls are meant to unite, their environments begin to shift to accommodate the union, and you may not know their name yet, you may not know where they are, but trust that just as you are thinking about love more intentionally, they are too, just as you are healing, they are healing, just as you are learning patience, they are learning commitment, and when both journeys reach readiness, intersection becomes inevitable, and that is why this message confirms your soulmate is near. Not because you suddenly feel fireworks or dramatic signs, but because you feel grounded, mature, hopeful without desperation, expectant without anxiety, strong without hardness, and this balance is rare, it is cultivated through trials, and you have endured enough trials to appreciate something real, and when real love arrives it will not feel rushed, it will feel right, conversations will flow naturally, values will align effortlessly, attraction will feel safe not chaotic, and commitment will grow steadily not sporadically, and until that day manifests fully. Continue becoming the person who can sustain the love you desire, continue trusting that what left was not meant to stay, continue believing that delay is not denial, continue choosing growth over bitterness, because the closer you get to alignment, the more resistance tries to distract you, but do not settle now, do not return to old patterns now, do not entertain confusion now, because clarity is coming. And the love that is near will honor your heart, protect your peace, respect your journey, and celebrate your evolution. And when you finally meet, you will realize that every lonely night was shaping discernment, every heartbreak was building resilience, every delay was protecting destiny, and you will look back not with regret but with gratitude, understanding that timing was never against you but for you, and that the wait was not empty but transformative. And so breathe deeply tonight, knowing that you are not behind, you are being aligned, you are not forgotten, you are being prepared, you are not rejected, you are being redirected, and the love meant for you is not lost, it is near, moving closer through unseen coordination, guided by wisdom greater than your worry, orchestrated by timing wiser than your impatience, and when it arrives it will confirm what your spirit has sensed all along, that true love was not something you had to chase, but something that was always being guided toward you as you became ready to receive it, and as this season continues to unfold you may begin to recognize even deeper confirmations that your soulmate is near, because the transformation happening inside of you is no longer subtle but undeniable. You are reacting differently to situations that once triggered you. You are choosing silence over unnecessary arguments. You are choosing growth over gossip. You are choosing purpose over distraction. And this emotional discipline is not accidental but intentional preparation, because lasting love requires stability, not mood swings, clarity not confusion, commitment not convenience, and perhaps you have also noticed that your tolerance for inconsistency has completely diminished. You no longer romanticize potential, you no longer ignore red flags hoping they will turn green. You no longer chase mixed signals trying to decode someone's intentions. Instead you are aligned with truth, and truth has become more attractive to you than fantasy. And this shift is powerful because when you stop entertaining what is not aligned, you create space for what is, and space is necessary for divine connections to enter. Because soulmate love does not compete for attention, it enters when you are no longer distracted by what is beneath you, and maybe you have felt moments of unexpected joy lately, small bursts of gratitude for no specific reason, a calm excitement about the future even without clear evidence. And that hope is not foolish optimism but spiritual confirmation, because often before something beautiful manifests physically it begins to bloom internally. Your heart begins to prepare for a love it has not yet touched. Your mind begins to imagine a partnership that feels healthy and secure. Your standards begin to reflect long-term vision rather than temporary pleasure, and these inner adjustments are evidence that your spirit senses proximity. Because when your soulmate is near you begin to align with the version of yourself who can sustain them. You begin to think in terms of we without losing me. You begin to value communication over ego, compromise over control, unity over dominance, and this maturity does not develop overnight. It is forged through disappointment, refined through solitude, strengthened through patience, and you have walked through enough solitude to understand that loneliness was never punishment but preparation, because solitude taught you self-awareness, it exposed patterns you needed to break, it revealed insecurities you needed to heal, it strengthened your independence so that you would never again mistake attachment for love. And now you are no longer searching from emptiness but from wholeness, and that distinction changes everything, because when two whole people meet the relationship is not about filling gaps but about expanding purpose, it is not about escaping loneliness but about building legacy, and perhaps you have also experienced a decrease in fear regarding relationships. You are no longer terrified of being alone forever. You are no longer panicking About timelines, you are no longer comparing your journey to others. Instead, you are anchored in trust, and trust is a magnet for alignment, because desperation repels what patience attracts, and when you stop forcing outcomes and start flowing with divine timing, doors open with less resistance, and you may even find yourself encountering new environments, new conversations, new opportunities that feel slightly unfamiliar yet strangely comfortable, and these subtle shifts are not random coincidences but divine choreography, because when two souls are meant to meet, circumstances begin to arrange themselves accordingly, schedules align unexpectedly, mutual connections emerge naturally, interests overlap seamlessly, and when the moment finally arrives it will feel less like chance and more like confirmation, because there is a difference between infatuation and recognition. Infatuation feels urgent and chaotic while recognition feels calm and certain, and soulmate energy carries. Recognition, it feels like peace in the presence of possibility, it feels like safety in vulnerability, it feels like strength in unity, and until that encounter fully materializes you are being strengthened internally so that when love arrives you will not sabotage it with old fears, you will not push it away with insecurity, you will not test it unnecessarily to prove its sincerity, because you will have grown beyond survival mode and stepped into security mode, and security changes how you love. It allows you to express needs without fear, it allows you to set boundaries without guilt, it allows you to give affection without anxiety, and these qualities are forming within you now, which is why this message confirms that your soulmate is near, because you would not be evolving at this level if the season of receiving was not approaching. Growth always precedes reward. Preparation always precedes promise, and elevation always precedes encounter. And perhaps the greatest confirmation of all is that you are no longer willing to settle, not out of pride but out of clarity. You understand that temporary comfort is not worth permanent compromise. You understand that divine love requires divine standards. You understand that waiting for something real is better than rushing into something unstable, and this patience is powerful because it protects you from distractions designed to delay your destiny. And when you feel tempted to return to what once felt familiar but unhealthy, remind yourself that familiarity is not alignment, comfort is not compatibility, history is not destiny, and the love meant for you will not require you to shrink, to beg, to compete, or to prove your worth repeatedly. It will meet you at the level of your growth, it will honor your boundaries, it will celebrate your individuality, and it will support your purpose, because soulmate love is not just romantic, it is strategic. It aligns with your calling, it strengthens your mission, it amplifies your potential, and as you continue walking forward with faith rather than fear, know that what is meant for you is also moving toward you. You are not walking alone toward an empty future, you are walking toward intersection, toward confirmation, toward fulfillment, and every day that passes is not distance from love but distance from immaturity, not delay of blessing but refinement of readiness. And soon enough what you have been sensing internally will manifest externally, the peace you cultivated will be shared, the growth you invested in will be appreciated, the patience you practiced will be rewarded, and when you finally look into the eyes of the person who feels like home, you will understand why everything before them had to end, because nothing temporary could survive the weight of what is eternal. And your soulmate is not arriving to complete you but to complement the strength you have already built. And that is why this season of growth is sacred, because it is shaping you into someone who can recognize real love, receive real love, and sustain real love without fear, and that realization alone confirms that your soulmate is closer than you think. And as this message comes to its close, let your heart fully absorb this truth that nothing you have endured was wasted, nothing you cried over was meaningless, nothing that ended was a mistake, because every chapter that closed was clearing the path for a chapter that will remain. And the reason you feel different now is because you are different now, stronger in discernment, softer in spirit, wiser in love, calmer in expectation, and this balance within you is the final preparation before divine connection manifests, because when your soulmate is near there is less striving and more surrender, less anxiety and more assurance, less chasing and more trusting, and you are stepping into that space where you no longer need constant signs to believe. You simply know that what is meant for you cannot miss you, and that certainty is powerful, because it frees you from overthinking every interaction, it frees you from forcing conversations, it frees you from settling out of fear of being alone, and instead it allows you to walk confidently, patiently, faithfully toward the life that is already being arranged in your favor, and understand this clearly that real love does not arrive to confuse you but to confirm you. It does not shake your peace but strengthens it. It does not compete with your purpose but complements it, and the very fact that you are now valuing peace over pressure, growth over glamour, depth over drama, is proof that you are aligned with something higher than temporary attraction. You are aligned with covenant-level connection, and when that connection appears it will feel natural, not forced, steady, not sporadic, intentional, not accidental. And you will recognize it not because it overwhelms you with intensity but because it surrounds you with peace, and until that moment fully unfolds, continue honoring your journey, continue protecting your standards, continue trusting divine timing even when it feels silent, because silence does not mean inactivity, it means orchestration behind the scenes. And just as you have been preparing emotionally and spiritually, your soulmate has been doing the same, healing what needed healing, learning what needed learning, growing into the person capable of loving you correctly. And when preparation on both sides reaches completion, intersection becomes inevitable, and that meeting will not feel like luck but alignment, not coincidence but confirmation. And you will look back at this waiting season with gratitude instead of frustration, because you will finally see how every delay protected you from what was beneath you and preserved you for what was destined for you. So release the fear of missing out, release the urge to rush, release the temptation to settle, because what is truly yours requires patience, not pressure, and as you move forward from this moment, carry quiet confidence in your heart, knowing that you are not behind schedule, you are not forgotten, you are not overlooked, you are being positioned, and the love that matches your growth, honors your peace, and supports your purpose is not far away but near, closer than your doubts suggest, closer than your impatience admits, and when it arrives it will confirm everything your spirit has been sensing. That the wait was worth it, the growth was necessary, and the timing was perfect.